Hi everybody and welcome back to Borderlines today. So today we thought we'd talk about house prices in the south of England, because we've done a lot of videos recently about north-south divide, difference in house prices, is it worth moving, selling up in the south of England to move north and all this. And a lot of people have said, yeah, but all you do is an average, okay, and you don't really do it as a regional, from one area to another area. So what I thought I'd do today is take a look at house prices. So I've picked 16 locations south of London, okay, and taken a look at how much these locations are to buy a house on average, okay, and I've also looked at the rental prices. Now this is going to be part of a series, okay, because we're also going to take a look at the north of England as well, okay, which is going to be in the next video. Okay, so we've also compared to see, because people have said that house prices within 60 miles of London are more expensive. So what we've also done is looked at the distance from, well, specifically London Waterloo, because we've looked at how long it would actually take to get from these cities, whether it's Southampton, Portsmouth, I don't know, Taunton, how long it would take to drive from these places to get to London Waterloo, or to go by train. Okay, and obviously train, as a general rule, is quicker. So we're going to give you that information today. So first place, which is within 60 miles of London, okay, is Basingstoke. Now, Basingstoke's a place I've been to many times. When I used to work in the double glazing industry, I used to go up to Basingstoke quite a lot. There's a lot of money there because a lot of people live in Basingstoke who generally work in London. Okay, but because London's so expensive, they tend to move out, and Basingstoke's one of those places. So Basingstoke to London is 53 miles, which by car is 95 miles. Not 95 miles, it's 95 minutes by car and 53 minutes from Basingstoke train station. Now, the average house price in Basingstoke, believe it or not, is £478,000, £261. So that was as of the end of last year, okay, and the average rental is £1,248. So it's not too bad. Okay, next we have Bognor Regis. Lovely place. I used to live near Bognor because I used to live in Barnum 10 years ago. Used to go down to Bognor on a regular basis. Now, to drive from Bognor to London Waterloo, now yet again, Bognor Regis is on the main route to London. You'll normally go to London Victoria, but to get to London Waterloo, okay, it takes 150 minutes by car, and by train you can get to Waterloo, but most people would actually go up to Victoria via Brighton, okay, is 2 hours 4 minutes. Now obviously, believe it or not, even though it's a coastal town, okay, Bognor Regis is actually quite cheap. When I say quite cheap, to buy there on average you're looking at £340,000, okay, and to rent, which is categorically a lot cheaper than Basingstoke, at around about £600 to £800. So we'll say £800, just go top whack at the end of the day. So you're looking at about 800 quid. Next, we've got the beautiful seaside city of Bournemouth. Bournemouth, place I've been to many a time. Okay, yet again, by car 2.5 hours, by train 2 hours 8 minutes, because obviously if you go by train, the train from Bournemouth goes from Bournemouth to Southampton, and then from Southampton goes up to London, normally via Winchester. Okay, now the house prices, yet again, you're looking at £408,000. And get this for rental, I couldn't believe this when I saw this. The average rental price in Bournemouth, as things stands, it's not the most expensive place on the south coast, but it's up there with some of the most expensive places of cities. £1,700, and a lot of that boils down to is that there's some very expensive places around the Bournemouth area. You know, at the end of the day, it's pretty much in the New Forest. Okay, and it can be quite expensive. You know, you've got Sandbanks. I know Sandbanks is really poor. Okay, but a lot of people consider it, and it's extremely expensive. I've been down to Sandbanks before, and you know, I've seen how expensive them houses are. So you could put that down to some of the reason why it's so expensive around there. Okay, but we're going to go up in price now. We're going to go to Brighton. We're going to go to the other end. We're going to go to East Sussex. So East Sussex, Brighton, 2 hours 9 minutes by car, and 90 minutes by train. Not that much more. The house price, it's only an extra 10 grand, £418,000 you're looking on average, and for the rental you're looking at £1,778 on average. Okay, so pretty reasonable. So now we're going to take a dive in prices, so we're going to look at saving money. Now this is a place, it's not on the main route, train route. If you want to get up to London, you've got to make changes. Okay, so there's no direct train from here, which is Dover. Okay, so from Dover to London, 2 hours, 120 minutes. Okay, by car, it's actually slightly quicker, because you've actually got to come slightly out of Dover to get the train. 116 minutes. So just under 2 hours. You're only saving like 4 minutes, to be honest. But this is the kicker. House prices. Under £300,000. You're only looking at 294 grand. Okay, so it's not bad, but this is the big saving. If you consider Bournemouth and Brighton are both over £1,700, Dover's only 805 quid. So that's the fundamental thing, is why is Dover so much cheaper than Bournemouth and Brighton? They're both on the coast. The only difference is Bournemouth's in Dorset, Dover's, Brighton's in East Sussex, Dover's in Kent. But why is there a £900 price difference on average from Dover to the other two cities? Which is a fundamental question which may need a bit more looking into. Why there's such, is it demand? Is it because you've got a lot of older people there? So you haven't really got the demand. It's an interesting one to, you know, take a look at for another day and have a conversation about. Okay, next we've got Eastleigh. Now the thing with Eastleigh, sometimes people consider it Southampton because it takes the Southampton postcode, a bit like Winchester does. But we've separated them mainly because the owner of this channel lives in Eastleigh, to be honest. Okay, so from Eastleigh to Southampton, from Eastleigh to London, just under 2 hours, 115 minutes, and 95 minutes by train. Okay, now house prices, you're looking on average at around about 327,000, which is quite a bit cheaper than Southampton, but it's a lot more quiet and probably slightly nicer place than Southampton, to be honest. And I grew up in Southampton, so I should know. Okay, but rental prices, you're looking at around about 1,146. So it's not too bad. It's probably about average on the south coast, to be honest. Okay, then we've got Horsham, number 2 city within 60 miles of London. Okay, 43.2 miles from London Waterloo. Okay, so It's 111 minutes, or what, an hour 51 minutes by car, 88 minutes by train. This is the kicker. £422,000 average house price and £1,374 for rental. Now, when you go through a lot of these, and I'll give you the two pretty hefty, expensive ones in a minute. Okay. Now, what I found was a lot of the places that you can live on the south coast, okay, are around about £300,000 to £400,000. Okay. Most house prices, and the average house price for rental is at around £1,151, which isn't too bad. You know, it's not astronomically expensive. But what I did find is, and this is what surprised me, because the argument that's put out that if you're within 60 miles of London, that's where you're going to get the prime prices because of London. But it's not the most expensive place. Most expensive place for a city on the south coast is actually Winchester. And Winchester is I think it's around about 63 miles from London. Okay, which I can check at the end of the day, but I'm pretty sure it's about 63 miles. Okay, and get this. So you got them. We've got 4 locations within 60 miles. In Tunbridge at 480,000, Maidstone at 369,000, Horsham at 422,000, and Basingstoke at 478,000. All within 60 miles, or on the south coast. Where's the most expensive? Winchester at 772,000, nearly £300,000 more expensive than those, which is crazy. It's absolutely crazy, the prices that you get when you look at them other locations. And even rent for Winchester is higher than everybody else. So when people say that you have to live within 60 miles of London, it's not true. It's fundamentally not true. But there is a uniform of house prices in the south of England, and house prices in the last year have gone up by around about 5%, straight across the south coast. It does vary from location to location at the end of the day. Okay, the average house price from 16 places I've got, and I can put them in the comments so you can actually have a look. Okay, average house price around about £404,000, and a lot of that boils down to Winchester because it's 300 grand more than everywhere else on the list. If you took Winchester out, you're probably looking at around about £350,000, somewhere in that kind of ballpark. So, is it worth it? The house prices that you get in the south of England? Probably not. Do you get rinsed when it comes to rental? Yes, but there are locations you can go to where you can get a good deal. Classic example, Dover at £800, Bognor Regis at £800. If you want to get rinsed for house prices, you go to Winchester, you go to Tunbridge, you go to Southampton, which is just under 400 grand. You go to Poole, Horsham, Brighton, Bournemouth, and Basingstoke. But if you want to get a bargain, okay, Taunton, £300,000. 100 grand less, you know. So Taunton's on there. Weymouth, 324 grand. Dover, 295,000. And Eastleigh at 327,000. Their average prices for them locations. Okay, so can you get a good deal on the South Coast? Yes, you can. Can you get fleeced and rinsed? Yes, you can as well. Okay, one of the fundamental things you might want to take a look at is what businesses have come into them areas. What makes them be so lucrative for the house prices? Because if you take a look at Southampton as a classic example, you've got cruise liners for starters, you've got a lot of businesses in there, and that's what's going to be affecting the house prices. Okay, when you take, for instance, Portsmouth, it's about £60,000 less. But Portsmouth is mainly known for the Royal Navy at the end of the day. Yes, there are other types of businesses in and around the area. I should know, I live very close to Portsmouth. I live very close to Southampton as well. So those are the things you might want to consider if you do decide that you want to move from one city to another. So you can actually get a good deal if you want to, if you're willing to consider what city you live in. So I hope this helps everybody. But for now, thanks for listening. If you are new to the channel, if you could please subscribe, I would appreciate it. But for now, thanks for listening, and we'll speak to you again a bit later.